Our visiting professor today is Emmy Award-winning journalist Jeff Peterson of WGME and Fox 23 in Portland, Maine. In addition to being the host of Good Day Maine and news anchor, Jeff is a singer and trombonist, athlete, supporter of the Special Olympics and Camp Sunshine. There are links in the description to donate to either or both, and regular volunteer at senior centers. Jeff, welcome to Balderdash Academy.
Man, you really made me feel important there for a minute.
You're a Renaissance man.
Yeah, in improv, one of the rules is to make everybody look good. It's my job.
Man,
So
now, do something with this face down. That would really help.
I'm a comic, not a miracle worker. So you've won 3 Emmy Awards.
Apparently it can
You've won 3 Emmy Awards, a Regional Murrow Award, AP Awards for news reporting, sports anchoring. So with all of that, what are you most proud of in your career as a journalist?
not paying off the judges.
Nice.
Nice.
Keeping things clean,
Perfect.
Jeff. Keeping things clean.
So,
Not to get too warm and fuzzy, but what I'm most proud of is being a father. I have 5 kids too, ages 10 all the way to 21, and so I mean, yeah, that's what you want on your grave when you die. Is not that it was a great worker or a great guest on Balderdash here, but that was a great father. So that's the one thing I'm most proud of.
Yeah.
And that was really warm and fuzzy. You guys got me serious there for a minute.
It was great. It was lovely. But you do a lot with your kids. I mean, you're out hiking all the time, man. So tell me about your hiking and your going out in nature.
I'm a huge outdoor guy. I mean, I even to sit inside right now doing this, it's sometimes tough because I love to get outside. I go hiking right now. My goal this summer is to hike all 14 4,000 footers in Maine. I got 11 to go. I've only done 3, but I'm doing one this weekend, and I'm going to finish it off all the way through the fall. And, also I run, so I run trails a lot, so I'll go out and run a lot of the Portland trails and some of the mountains around Maine, and, hike too. So I love to be active. I love to be up in the mountains, out in the woods, enjoying what Maine has to offer. I mean, I love the ocean too. And so I get my kids out there too. My kids are very athletic as well. And we just love to get outside and have a good time. And I mean, I'm telling you, I've lived in Portland, Maine off and on for about 20 years. And that's what makes this area so special is that so many things to do with the ocean, the mountain. And, I take fully advantage of it.
Jeff, pop quiz.
Yes,
What is
my
the
name.
number one place that you would recommend somebody goes with their kids?
For hiking?
I'm looking for stuff to do.
No, it's my favorite hike, you guys, is a mountain. It's called Tumbledown.
Good one.
It's the coolest mountain. It's moderate, but it gets a little dicey towards the top. But seriously, anybody can do it. And it's got a lake on the top of it. You can camp out on top as well. So it's kind of a surprise. You climb up this mountain. Probably takes you about an hour and a half. And bring some swim shorts. If you go up there on a nice day and you can jump in the water, it's absolutely beautiful. So Tumbledown Mountain, probably my favorite spot.
I'm going to go there before this airs because it's going to get really busy.
So, do you do overnights? Do you do? Have you done like the AT or? I mean, you were out west for a while. The AZT maybe, or are you just strictly a day hiker?
Well, I do a lot of day hikes. Like I'll find mountains or just nature preserves around the area to hike through or run through. And also, last weekend I hiked part of the Appalachian Trail. We went to Reddington Mountain, Crocker, and South Crocker, which is near Sugarloaf. And then a couple of weeks before that, we went to Rangeley and hiked probably 12 or 13 miles of the Appalachian Trail in the Rangeley area. So, so it's so many places to go in Maine. And I'm going to do Katahdin. I've not made it all the way up Katahdin yet, believe it or not. And so I'm going to do that like in the next month or so too, as well.
Awesome. That's so cool. One of my fondest memories growing up was going camping with my dad. And one of the snacks that my dad used to bring for my brother and I was canned tuna fish on saltines. And that was like our got to the top of the hike snack to get us back down the hike. So
Not even Ritz.
No.
Saltines.
Saltines. Plain saltines with tuna just forked out from the can. What do you bring for your kids to get them through their hike?
Well, my favorite meal since I'm vegan is an ice cube and a head of lettuce.
You and
It's
my dad would get
delicious.
along.
Like what I took with me last weekend is I had some jerky. It's vegan beef jerky. It was so I had 2 or 3 bags of those and some Clif bars. We were gone 2 days and 1 night, and so I probably had like 3 or 4 Clif bars, like 4 or 5 apples, and I had the vegan jerky, and that held me for 2 days. And then at the end of the Saturday night we went out to dinner after that. So when you're backpacking, you want everything as light as possible.
Totally. Yeah. Saltines are pretty light.
Yeah, they are. That's why, you can't have the Ritz. They're a little too heavy and buttery. They weigh you down. Jeff, tell us about vegan jerky, because I'm very intrigued.
Actually, it's pretty good. I'd never had it before. I was in Whole Foods buying groceries, and I knew I was going on a trip, and this is probably last week. And I looked down, and I'm going, oh my gosh, the beef jerky out there was the vegan beef jerky. I don't know if it was beef. It was vegan jerky, and it was a barbecue flavor. And I can't tell you what's in it.
Right.
Ingredients, but it tasted really good. And it's great. What's great about that snack too is I can hold it in my hand while I'm hiking and just kind of munch on it.
Yeah.
So.
I'm so curious what that is. We're gonna have to find that out before the end of the show.
Have to do a little investigation like a TV reporter, man.
That's right.
Jeff, you've been hiking during the pandemic. You've been on TV. What else have you been doing to keep busy during the downtime that we have now?
Let me see. Whenever my kids aren't hanging out with me, I'm binging Ozark right now.
Nice.
So good.
Okay.
Let me tell you something.
Show.
Yeah.
It's hard not to watch like 4 episodes in one night, right? Who decides that right when one episode ends, like 3 seconds later, before you can grab the remote, the next one starts?
I know it.
Netflix sets you up to just sit there for hours.
True.
And then they judge you for sitting there for hours. Are you still watching?
You still watching?
Yeah, you told me to watch. You just kept playing. I just kept sitting.
It was awful. Like I don't watch a lot of television, especially there's no sports on right now. But I got sucked in after Game of Thrones. I needed to take some time off. So finally, people kept telling me, you got to watch Breaking Bad. You got to watch Breaking Bad. So I watched it, and I got totally sucked in. Guys, there was one day for one weekend when there were no kids around, I watched seriously 8 or 9 episodes. It was awful.
Yeah.
I felt like a drug addict.
Yeah.
I felt like I was on Netflix. I kept peeking out the window to see if the FBI was
Too much. Jeff, hey, speaking of sports, man, you started your career and pretty much like through it until you got back to Maine. You were sports heavy. You were narrating games. Is that what you call us? Coach narrating games. Narrating games. And you were doing sports. And you were doing, yes, thank you, Marie, announcing sportscasting and all that stuff. But you don't do too much sports anymore. I mean, you're the anchor, so.
Yeah, well, I mean, being a sportscaster was my dream job. Well, a pro basketball player was going to be my dream job, but that ended when I was like 4.
We've all been there.
Next best thing, I wanted to be a sportscaster, and that was my dream job. I changed my major in college probably 7 times, everything from pre-dentistry and a music major and finally I said, you know what, this is stupid. I'm going for broadcasting, and so I became a sportscaster. And I mean, seriously, guys, I did it for sportscaster for probably 12 years, and they paid me to go to games.
Oh,
that's awesome.
Honestly, that'd be my dream job.
Don't tell my husband about this.
My first day on the job, I took a job in Manchester, New Hampshire. My first day on the job, I was at Fenway Park covering a Red Sox Blue Jays game during the pennant race. And I was calling all my friends on the phone in the press box going, hey, what are you guys doing for work? He goes, I don't know. What are you doing? I'm like, Fenway Park. And they hung up on me.
Those aren't real friends.
That sounds so cool.
I've been to the Super Bowl. I've been to the World Series. I've been to, NHL playoffs, NCAA, football, basketball, hockey, everything. I covered UMaine when they won their first national championship in hockey. Portland Pirates.
So cool.
The Calder Cup. I covered the 1989 World Series. We had the earthquake. Super Bowl with the Patriots in '97 in New Orleans against the Packers.
Wow.
I've interviewed all kinds of big sports stars, but then all of a sudden when I had my first child back in 1999, I didn't want to do nights anymore or weekends and work like every single day during football season. when football season hit, I worked in New Orleans for 4 years. And when football season hit, I would work football from the beginning, like mid-July, all the way through the end of December. I would fly to La Crosse, Wisconsin, and stay for 3 to 4 weeks to cover Saints training camp. Yeah. And then it was all week long going on the road to cover the Saints or LSU football or covering high school football. And so I was traveling all the time. So finally, I had my first child. I was looking right at him in the crib, and I said, "Man, the dream's over. One dream ends, and another dream starts." To be a father. And so I got out of that because let me tell you something. If I would have still been doing sports right now, I'd be working nights. I'd be working weekends. I would have never been able to coach my kids' little league teams and soccer teams, seen my kids play all these high school sports. And even now, my kids, 3 of them have graduated from high school. I went to, their basketball games, swim meets, softball games, cheerleading competitions. And my kids now, I coach little league, dance recitals, so it's nice that's why I got out of sports to get into news. That's why I made the ultimate sacrifice, because now I got to get up at 2:15 in the morning.
You do.
Oh.
Yeah, you do.
No.
So tell us about some of the volunteer work that you've been doing. Where have you been helping out?
Well, I do a lot with Special Olympics. I serve on their board, and I help them with ideas to fundraise and also for events. And I got involved with the Special Olympics back in 2001. I was covering the lobster dip in Old Orchard Beach. That's where everyone jumps in the ocean on New Year's Day. And I was down there for work. And so during the portion, of the story that you're on camera, I sat there and I decided that if I'm covering the lobster dip, I got to go in, right? And so I was on camera and I had didn't have a microphone in my hand or anything. They were just picking it up on the microphone on the camera. And I said, "Hey, that wraps up this year's lobster dip, and the only thing left is reporter participation." And I turned right around and ran into the ocean, all my clothes on, and I dove in. And everyone was dying laughing. And so the vice president of Special Olympics, the CEO, came up to me and says, "Hey, that was pretty funny." I go, "Do you want to host the lobster dip from now on?" And I said, "Yeah, absolutely." And so I've been hosting the lobster dip now for the last 18, 19 years. And then just about a year ago, they asked me if I wanted to be on their board. And so I've been with their board now. And also I take part in the Booth Bay Charities Golf Classic. I help out with their auction. That's up in Booth Bay Harbor. And that's another great fundraiser. They raise like $40,000 or $50,000. I've been doing that since, for probably the last 20 years too. So Special Olympics has always been something that's near and dear to my heart. I also volunteer at the Winter Games up in Sugarloaf. There's so many other, the Rape Crisis Center in Lewiston and Auburn. I help out with those guys too, doing their auction and fundraising. But the one thing I think that I really enjoy the most is, I just love my grandma to tears. And they passed away years and years ago. And I feel so close to older people because I am one. I've always taken my kids, ever since my older kids were probably like 3 or 4 years old, we would go sing Christmas carols at a senior home every single year. And that was during Christmas. And then during Easter, we would bring in Easter eggs with candy in them. And then for Valentine's Day, we would make Valentines and pass them out there as well. And so we started doing that. So we would go there 3 times a year. And then finally, when the pandemic hit, I kind of got an idea that a lot of these senior citizens probably need help buying groceries because they can't go out. And so I offered to buy groceries. So right now I buy groceries for 3 seniors at the Park Danforth in Portland. And also, the thing that people forget about is the senior citizens, because they're the most vulnerable when it comes to coronavirus. They don't want them going anywhere. So they're like trapped in their rooms, basically. And so a lot of them are isolated. A lot of them don't have family or friends that reach out a lot. And so I got the address to probably about 24 of them. And I sat down and wrote some letters. I had my 10-year-old, my 12-year-old. Those guys wrote a couple of letters too. And so we did those, and then we dropped off the letters at the senior center. And it was kind of nice. We got letters back from probably about 7 or 8 of them.
Oh, that's great.
Oh.
Cool.
That's fantastic.
So you're like a really good person. Like a really good person.
Well, apparently you don't know me that well then.
So now, did you also send your letters to your prison pen pals, or did you just add them in, or did they replace?
No, but I do get letters from prison pen pals every now and then, but I do not write back.
Are these unsolicited?
That's cool.
I mean, I'm telling you, we get letters from just about everybody you can imagine. I mean, you get people that call
awesome.
you and email you and send you messages on Facebook and Twitter. And, I mean, it used to be when I got into this business back in the late 80s, that if somebody wanted to get in contact with you, they just called the station or sent a letter. Now they can reach out, not just calling, but emailing and sending you a message on Twitter, tweeting about you, Facebook Messenger, Instagram. I mean, it's crazy. And it's hard to keep up with all of it. It used to be just worried about being on television and pronouncing all the words right. But now you have to, be social all the time.
Yes, I tracked you down.
Yes.
Hey, Jeff. Jeff, what's your favorite segment that you've done? Because I know we had some good times on Good Day Maine, but what's your favorite segment? Are you always like, there's a cooking thing coming up, I want to do that? Or are you out and about? Or I know you do the varsity pep rallies and stuff. What's your favorite gig?
Yeah, well, I've been doing television for about 30 years, and I got to tell you, probably the most fun, besides, sports, that's a different animal, because to pay me to go to sporting events, that was a dream come true. But besides that, we did a segment for about 5 years on our morning show called School Spirit Challenge. And what we do is we would pick 10 high schools, and we would go to a different high school 10 weeks in a row, each high school. And we would have a pep rally. Believe it or not, these kids showed up at 5 o'clock in the morning. We would have anywhere from 200 to 300 to 1,000 at some of these schools. Show up. The band would be there. The cheerleaders would be there. Faculty, the mayors of some of the towns, city councilors, school board members. It was like we were like ESPN Game Day. If you've ever seen that, that was like us in the morning. And when we went on the air, I just moved my hand like this, and they would whoop and holler, and it was so loud that they raised the roof, and probably made me deaf for the rest of my life. But we did a School Spirit Challenge. But not only was it a great way to showcase all these schools and all the great things that they do. We talked about their bands, their sports teams, also their honor society, drama club, whatever they had. Whatever made the school special, we'd showcase that during the morning, during School Spirit Challenge. So during that time we were on the air we had them on the air for about 3 hours. And we'd do live hits from each school. And each live hit was about 3 or 4 minutes. But the reason this became so popular is because it was also a competition to see who could collect the most money for the Good Shepherd Food Bank. And so over the years, we've collected, I think ended up being in 5 years, 3 million pounds of food.
That's awesome.
Wow.
And so when you throw in competition, schools love that. They want to win. And so these schools would go all out and try to win this thing. And we would have a big banquet after, we'd have 10 straight weeks of rallies. And then our 11th week was our School Spirit finale. We'd have like 3 or 4 reps from each school come in our studio, and we'd have a big awards ceremony. And we would find out who raised the most money. And it was a big deal. We gave them a trophy. And one school, when they won Wiscasset, you could have sworn they won the Stanley Cup. Because this small school, Wiscasset High School, beat out all these big schools like Deering and Portland and all these bigger schools. And they had a police and fire escort as they drove in with the trophy into Wiscasset. And the entire school was waiting outside the front door as they walked up the. So they had probably like 400 or 500 kids at the front of the school to welcome the kids, some of the 4 or 5 kids and the teacher that were in our studios that morning to show off the trophy that they won in the school. It was called the School Spirit Cup. So that was so exciting for me. Especially during the finales, it was kind of hard to hold back tears because it was so much work to put this together, and the kids and the faculty put so much work into it, and to collect so much money and food for such a great cause. It was unbelievable. Especially, think about it. These high school kids, they get such a bad rap sometimes. And this was a great way to highlight all the good things they do. And a lot of these kids really do a lot of good things. I'm getting warm and fuzzy again. But in 5 years, that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's important because everybody likes to win something, and our faculty is no less. Join us when we come back to see whether or not Nate can hold on to the reigning champion banner on Balderdash Academy. Go Dashers!
What's in that bottle there, Bob? What was that?
This is Massachusetts water, so it's probably bad for you.
Goes right for the hard stuff.
It's 85 degrees here.
Oof. Is that like 90% fluoride, or what's going on there? It looks a little dark.
It's pretty much. The nice thing is my teeth glow, so it's amazing.
That's helpful when you're out camping, actually.
It is. I don't need a headlamp. I just smile.
So your teeth and your head glows?
Yeah. Well, the
Got
head
him.
I need to polish regularly. I prefer turtle wax and beeswax. I like being a little natural, you know?
Not vegan.
Yeah. Not vegan. No, not at all.
Because for the news, I put on Sephora makeup, so we could we could get together, do a little makeup shopping.
Nice. Oh, we should have this show pay for that. We need to.
Yeah.
We need
I
to
see a
yes.
tutorial in our future.
This would be very funny content. I would pay for that personally to get the makeup and get the studio space. That sounds incredible.
Wait, but you're already pretty.
I don't know who you're talking to, but I'm going to assume it's me. Thank you, Jeff.
Maria's hard. Steve thinks actors and actresses get naked. Nate struggles reading, and Molly has blue balls. We are in this together. Check it all out in the next episode of Balderdash Academy.
Thank you for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. You can find us on your favorite podcast service as Balderdash Academy. Go Dashers!